Warfare is a 2025 war film written and directed by Ray Mendoza and Alex Garland. Based on Mendoza's experience during the Iraq War and the US Navy SEAL, the film depicts an encounter and his platoon experienced on November 19, 2006, in the wake of the Battle of Ramadi. To maintain the historical accuracy, the film's material is taken exclusively from the testimonies of the platoon members and is presented in real time. It stars an ensemble cast that includes Tefera Wun-Aitan as Mendoza, alongside Will Poulter, Cosmo Jarvis, Kit Connor, Finn Bennett, Joseph Quinn, Charles Melton, and Michael Gandolfini. The film is dedicated to platoon member Elliot Miller, played by Jarvis in the movie, who lost his leg and the ability to speak in the incident. Warfare premiered at the Music Box Theatre in Chicago on March 16, 2025, and was released in the United States by A24 Pictures on April 11, 2025, and the United Kingdom on April 18th. It received generally positive reviews and would go on to gross $31 million against a $20 million budget. Some trivia notes. Warfare was filmed chronologically over 5 weeks. The film is based on the memories of each SEAL team members present during the mission. Each scene in the film is corroborated by at least 2 or more of the SEAL team members interviewed by Ray Mendoza and Alex Garland. Some of the names of the real SEAL team members were changed in the film to protect their identities, as some are still serving in the military or preferred to remain anonymous. The only names that weren't changed in the film are Ray Mendoza and Elliot Miller. The film plays out in real time, starting from the title drop. At that point forward, the runtime depicts the real duration of the mission itself. Warfare is a love letter from director Ray Mendoza to Elliot Miller, who after the traumatic events of the Ramadi operation doesn't remember what happened to him or how he lost his leg. None of the cast needed to audition. They were selected instead from interviews with directors Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza. This was because the directors were looking for the right attitude in each actor. They knew the film would be a tough shoot that required actors to push themselves mentally and physically. Post-filming Warfare, all of the cast got a matching tattoo. The tattoo says, "Call on me," in reference to a scene in the film and the brotherhood that they were created while filming. To achieve realistic sounds the actors could react to, enormous speakers were set up surrounding the house, the set playing sounds such as dogs barking and gunfire. The smoke released from an IED explosion was filled with phosphorus. This meant the real-life Navy SEALs, in particular, the character of Eric, almost lost his voice. The phosphorus in the air burned the esophagus lining. The burning phosphorus was also embedded in Elliot and Sam, who had pieces of phosphorus removed from their legs days after the incident. The idea for the film originated during the editing of Civil War. Alex Garland sought to create a film that would be realistic as possible and unfold in real time. After witnessing Ray Mendoza choreograph the White House action scene in Civil War, he recognized that Ray was the perfect person to help bring his vision to life. Garland asked Ray if he had a story he wanted to tell, and Ray revealed that he had a story he had hoped to make for years. Staying true to the film's philosophy, the cast's weapons training was so comprehensive that if something went wrong during a scene like a machine gun jamming, the actor using it would know exactly how to drop to a knee and fix the issue, all while the other actors continued shooting around them. The level of training enabled the cast to respond organically and instinctively throughout the shooting of the film. As per their leadership positions in the film, Will Poulter, Charles Melton and Joseph Quinn were given leadership roles amongst the cast to simulate the real team's dynamic. They were responsible for ensuring the cast was punctual, knew what script pages were to be filmed on that day. The cast even had to ask Will Poulter for permission to use the bathroom while filming. Ray Mendoza was awarded the Silver Star for this operation. The cast of Warfare were also intentionally chosen to reflect the youth of the real SEAL team platoon. At the time of filming, Tefera Wun-Aitan and Kit Connor were the same age as the SEALs they portrayed, 23 and 20 years old, respectively. Elliot Miller was the team's medic. The fact that he was intentionally unconscious added to the team's confusion and contributed to the delayed administration of morphine to both Elliot and Sam. As portrayed in the film, the song "Call on Me" by Eric Prides was a pump-up song for the SEAL team that they would play before going into missions. It was a particularly popular song among the units in 2006. Michael Gandolfini's father, James Gandolfini, worked with the Wounded Warrior Project, who travelled to Iraq and Afghanistan to meet with active duty and military veterans. Through this project, James Gandolfini sent watches to injured soldiers. Among them was Joe Hildebrandt, named as Sam in the film, and Elliot Miller. Michael Gandolfini didn't know this until Elliot visited the Warfare set and showed Michael a picture of his gifted watch from his father. Ray Mendoza revealed numerous compounding factors contributed to OP-1's compromised position. One of them was the fact it took extremely long to sledge the wall instead of blowing it. The original thought process was that breaking the wall would be quieter than the alternative. However, the sledging took way longer than expected and alerted nearby insurgents. As depicted in the film, a smokeout was used in preparation for Elliot's cassovac. However, the smoke was not thrown far enough, causing it to drift back into the house. This created a suffocating environment for Alpha 1, forcing them to exit the house quicker than they normally would. The initial Bradley that arrived to Cassavac Elliott also suffered casualties in the IED blast. The driver was bleeding profusely as shrapnel had cut his femoral artery, forcing the Bradley to leave in the wake of the explosion. When filming the scene of Ray struggling to drag Elliott's unconscious body up the driveway, Ray Mendoza gave Tefera Wooten a choice to either have a fake struggle by pulling up a dummy or pulling up actually Cosmo Jarvis. The actor playing Elliott, Tefera Wooten, chose to drag Cosmo himself. The only improvised moment in the film occurred when Joseph Quinn made it rain on his teammates listening to Call on Me. It was such a perfect reflection of his real-life counterpart, Joe Hildebrandt, that Ray Mendoza chose to keep it in the final cut. Ray Mendoza had always wanted to include the song Call on Me in the film. Halfway through the principal photography, he showed the music video to Alex Garland. They had been concerned about how audiences would connect with the characters, given their dialogue was only technical jargon with no backstory. Then they realised by placing Call on Me scene at the beginning of the film, it would mirror Ray's experiences of the team listening to it before missions and serve as an introduction to the characters' youth, their naivety, relationships to one another, and of course brotherhood. OP1 originally did not plan to blow claymores. However, due to the hurried Cassavac for Elliott, they did not have time to pack up the claymores, and they opted to blow them in place. The claymores were positioned on the house roof close to the exterior wall, which meant the explosions were extremely close to the T and caused concussive effects. Now, I found Warfare to be a brilliant and harrowing portrayal of the futility of war. This is an excellent film which powerfully demonstrates the sheer pointlessness of war. It shows how bureaucratic decisions, often made far from the front lines, can have such devastating and life-altering consequences for the soldiers and civilians alike, including children. The film resonates deeply, reminding me of the Vietnam conflict, another senseless conflict where immense American technological power and advanced equipment proved ineffective against guerrilla fighters with minimal resources. The acting is exceptional, and the film is put together with real precision. It immerses you in the chaos and fear of battle, capturing how disorientating and terrifying it must have been. It also, of course, highlights how quick thinking and deception can become a matter of survival under extreme circumstances. With a tight run time of 90 minutes, you do feel somewhat exhausted after watching Warfare, as its extreme portrayal of violence, fear and adrenaline takes you on a ride. It's a fascinating insight into what war must really feel like, and how these brave young men put themselves in harm's way for what they believe is a greater cause. I think having one of the actual veterans himself, Ray Mendoza, direct and write this film really just adds another element of authenticity. It's a fantastic piece of filmmaking that I'd highly recommend to everyone, albeit that it doesn't really make for easy viewing. As I said, this is a superbly made film, both emotionally impactful and thought-provoking, and it leaves you reflecting on the tragic cost of war and the flawed systems behind it. Warfare gets a 9 out of 10.